Jaya Buddhajana Rahajan Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Jamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Ura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajacharya Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privrajacharya Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Gauri Vaishnava Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Ita Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. All glories Nabutis. All glories Nabutis. All glories Nabutis. All glories Shishikun Shiguranga. All glories of Srila Prabhupada. Oh, okay. Wow. New angle. Next time I bring sunglasses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chava Narottamam Devam Sarasatim Vyasam Titu Jayamudirayat. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 18, Text 17. 17, reading 18 together? Okay, tick. So I'll read the 17, we read 18 together. Good. Gandharva Parsharash Dukshan Patre Padmamaye Payaha Vatsam Vishvasam Kritva Gandharva Madhusobhagam. Translation: the inhabitants of Gandharva Loka and Apsara Loka made Vivatsvasu into a calf, and they drew the milk into a lotus flower pot. The milk took the shape of sweet musical art and beauty. Text 18. Vatsena Pitaro Namna Kavyam Shiram Adukshaka Ama Patre Maha Bhagaha Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitarom Yamna Kavyam Kshiram Adukshata Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitaro Janma Kavyam Shiram Adukshata Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitaro Vyana Kavyam Kshiram Adukshata Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitaro Vyana Kavyam Kshiram Adukshata Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitaro Vyana Kavyam Kshiram Adukshata
Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena Pitarun Namna Kavyam Chirama Bhukstata Atmapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Sena Pitaro Ramna Venusyamadukshata Mate Mahabhaga Shradha Devataha Tena Pitaro Dhamna Yam Shirama Bhutchata Mahapate Mahabhaga Jayasemi Devataha Sena Vitu Dharma Buddhata Mahapate Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha
Vaishnavis.
Sena Pitarom Dhamna Kavyam Kshirama Bhukshata Amapatre Mahabhaga Shradaya Shraddha Devataha Vatsena
By the calf.
Pitaraha the inhabitants of Pitriloka Aryamna by the god of Pitriloka Aryama Kavyam offerings of food to ancestors Shiram milk Adukshata took out Amapatre into an unbaked
Earthen pot.
Mahabhaga the greatly fortunate Shradaya
With great faith.
Shraddha Devataha the demigods presiding over Shraddha ceremonies in honor of deceased relatives. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki! The fortunate inhabitants of Pitralok who preside over the funeral ceremonies made Aryama into a calf. With great faith, they milked kavya, food offered to the ancestors, into an unbaked earthen pot. Please repeat. The fortunate inhabitants of Pitralok who preside over the funeral ceremonies made Aryama into a calf. With great faith, they milked kavya, food offered to the ancestors, into an unbaked earthen pot. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 9:25, it is said, Pitrinyanti Pitrivrata, those who are interested in family welfare are called Pitrivrata. There is a planet called Pitralok, and the predominating deity of that planet is called Aryama. He is somewhat of a demigod, and by satisfying him, one can help ghostly family members develop a gross body. Those who are very sinful and attached to their family, house, village, or country do not receive a gross body made of material elements, but remain in a subtle body composed of mind, ego, and intelligence. Those who live in such subtle bodies are called ghosts. This ghostly position is very painful because a ghost has intelligence, mind, and ego, and wants to enjoy material life. Because he doesn't have a gross material body, he can only create disturbances for want of material satisfaction. It is a duty of family members, especially the son, to offer oblations to the demigod Aryama, or Lord Vishnu. From time immemorial in India, the son of a dead man goes to Gai, and at a Vishnu temple offers oblations to the benefit of his ghostly father. It is not that everyone's father becomes a ghost, but the oblations of Pinda are offered to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, so that if a family member happens to become a ghost, he will be favored with a gross body. However, if one is habituated to taking the prasad of Lord Vishnu, there is no chance of him becoming a ghost or anything lower than a human being. Prasadam ki jai. In Vedic civilization, there is a performance called Shraddha, by which food is offered with faith and devotion. If one offers oblations with faith and devotion, either to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu or to his representative in Pitraloka, Aryama, one's forefathers will attain material bodies to enjoy whatever material enjoyment is due to them. In other words, they do not have to become ghosts. Translation once again. The fortunate inhabitants of Pitraloka, who preside over the funeral ceremonies, made Aryama into a calf. With great faith, they melt kavya, food offered to the ancestors, into an unbaked earthen pot. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jananjana Salakaya Chakshuram Maritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasundubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavi Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Makam Karoti Vachanam Pangum Lankaitim Yakripatamaham Bande Shri Gurundinataranam Shri Paramadamaddhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Here in this verse, we can study the expertise of Vedic culture. Here, due to the independent desire of the jiva, trying to enjoy this material world, there may be certain attachments which are there. Here it's described family, members, wealth, aristocracy, attachment to temporary realities. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of the rich man had so much money and had a few days to live, and he said to the doctors, please, you give me a few more years to finish my family business, then I can go. Death does not wait for anyone. As sure as birth,
as sure as death.
So those persons with material attachments, they cannot understand the dangers. Srila Prabhupada says, even in the roads of spiritual culture, on the royal roads, there can always be danger. So for a materialist who has no connection with spiritual culture, this principle of aham, I and mine, you and yours is there, this family, wife, children, all these affairs, is all one knows. So then, in certain situations, at the time of death, Jai Shishi Radha Parta Sarta Visaka Ki Dai, Shishi Gonitai Ki Jai, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai. It's tough not to. Actually, it's good this way, because devotees cannot fall asleep before Thakurji. Because in Bhagavatam class, if you're thinking of prasad and you fall asleep, then Thakurji, Mrityu Sava Haraschaham, comes his death, and Thakurji will, my bhakta's going. No, I'm just. So in this way, there is a system to deliver the forefathers. Because within this material world, there's various diseases. Dis-ease means disease. So this material attachment become a very dangerous affair. As the Lord says, Maya Sukhaya Baram Uvido Vimudha. We become attached to happiness. We become attached to distress. I am this body. I'm meant to enjoy. Everything belongs to me. Ishvaraham Bogi, Siddhanam Balavan Sukhi. That person's my enemy. Kill him! As we see exemplified by different demons like Hiranyakashipu and Ravana. So much desire, so much aham, so much attachment. But Krishna consciousness means a preparation, a lifetime in preparation. Actually, this process is so wonderful. Srila Prabhupada brilliantly, on behalf of Parampara, created a wonderful arena where many persons of different backgrounds could come together and make a lifetime preparation. But what is the goal of Krishna consciousness? To go back to Godhead? No, that's not the goal of Krishna consciousness. In terms of, in our line, in service to Prabhupada, the goal is to bring others back with us. So in this way, when we serve the Lord in that capacity, Srila Prabhupada gave the example of the rhino. A rhino is a very difficult animal for a hunter to kill. So go for the high goals. And in this way, the short goals will be automatically attained. So the subject here is bhoots, bhuta, ghosts. Because in this material world, there are various entities who do not have a material body. Now, how have they gotten that body? Previously, they had gross bodies. Now, many persons become so frustrated with material culture, they will cut themselves. They will commit suicide. And there's different definitions in the Shastras what happens to someone. Because Srila Prabhupada gave the example of, for the remaining years meant in that body, you accept a ghost body. Different parts of the Shastras also prescribe that the sin of taking one's own life or taking the property that belongs to the Supreme is so great, you can have a ghost body for many, many births. So this purport speaking about how to deal with a particular situation. Now, as devotees, we're following the process. We understand that the Lord says, that as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. A devotee is free from these ghostly aspects. Or true or false. There was one because in Vedic culture, for example, Mother Sachi and Mother Yashoda would know different mantras to protect Nimai or to protect little Krishna from various evil entities or bhutas. Different mantras. So in the present age, there are various persons who can also extract a living entity who may be in the body of someone who is a gross embodied being. Now, you can study, even if you have devotional cloth, if you are taking some form of mental medication, for example, for mental illness, this is what modern doctors will prescribe in order to create a sense of balance in the brain, to give different medicine to relax the system. But actually, anyone who must take medicine for emotional stability has some ghostly presence. It can be one, it can be two, it can be three. I myself, I was a sannyasi for at least 20 years. Kokbalu sannyasi, no. Traveling, preaching, all these things. And, but there were certain weaknesses, there were certain distractions which were there. So one sadhu who knows the art of extracting bhutas, he did a test for me. All-American sannyasi, chanting the holy names, following the process very strictly. And I found I had 4 friends. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj was haunted. 4 entities. It's interesting, I had a yajna done in Mayapur. And you may laugh, oh, come on. Not possible. For someone who chants the Nam, not possible. So Guru Maharaj, I said to him, according to the process, by chanting the Nam, by taking shelter of Sankirtan movement, how can I be affected? And then he said to me, are you following the process? In other words, externally, I may be following, but am I actually imbibing the process? So anyways, I had a yajna done. I won't go into details, it's a long story. But days before this yajna, because the living entities that I had inside me were actually knowing they were going to get kicked out. And even in my room, I'd have pictures falling off the wall of my room. And the person who did that was like a devotee of Lord Ram, Hanuman Bhakta. So in this way, when we did the yajna in the evening time in Mayapur, it was amazing because here he was chanting different mantras. And what he does with the mantras, he attracts the entities out from the system. And around the house, it was done in Mayapur at night because this type of art is done in the evening hours. In Mayapur, and all these jackals surrounded the house. Something out of the Bible would tell you. All these jackals surrounded the house. I mean, you notice if you live in Mayapur, because Prabhupada said there's a ghost planet 90 kilometers or 90 miles above the Earth planet, one ghost planet. And so when you're in Mayapur, you'll notice at a certain time, all the dogs are barking. Because a jiva entrapped in a kuta body has the perception to see the subtle bodies like bhutas like that. And then they bark later on when the bhutas return. Quite interesting. I mean, everything's in the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada has given us everything. So anyways, if you took a picture of me before and took a picture of me afterwards, it was like a different, like maybe you may notice when there's Diksha, initiation. After a Diksha initiation, the devotees look so bright-faced because they've been accepted in parampara. There's a connection with Guru. And Thakurji has come into their life in a unique way. So the devotees look bright-faced. So similar reality. And my conscience has changed. AK, much more fixed. More control of the senses. Kokbalu sannyasi now. No. But, so these realities are there. And looking in the audience, there's no doubt that some of you have subtle entities. Now, when my Guru Maharaj told me, are you following the process? Then I understood. My feeling from what he said was, oh, it's not the goal for me to go back to God. In other words, even if you are affected, even if you are diseased, you're going back to God if you're following the process, even though you may struggle. But if you simply follow the principles, chant the holy names, and distribute Krishna consciousness to your capacity, yes, you're going back home. Of this, there's no doubt. Haribol. But as I said earlier, the goal is not just to go back home. The goal is to bring others with us. Harinam Sankirtan Ki. So in this way, that's what from his words I was saying, no. So then I have to clear this is why we engage in sadhana, to purify the heart, mind, body, and senses. And because this verse is speaking about materialistic persons who don't understand about Atma Tattva, knowledge of the self, who do not surrender to the Supreme. They have this difficulty. They can be entrapped. But, of course, if you like prasad, and looking at all the brahmacharis here, I'm seeing there's great love for prasad. Some prasadam brahmacharis like more than others. But this process is so powerful. You can eat your way back to Godhead. But there's more things we can do. So in this way, if we study this particular situation, that even as devotees, because, okay, it's automatically understood, we can speak about how, because here, this is the chapter's entitled, Prithu Maharaj Milks the Earth Planet. He's extracting the nectar through his different representatives. And in this situation, there is this point of giving mercy to those who are materialistically minded. But wait a minute. There's different types of ghosts that are there. Good ghosts and bad ghosts. Do you realize there's devotee ghosts? Huh? Yes. Devotee boot? But good ghost, bad ghost, all bad. Because they leech on you. They come. They want to hear Bhagavatam class. They come. They can come in form taking prasadam. Devotee in a previous life who misused his particular service, even taking a life, can get a devotee boot body. But good ghosts, bad ghosts, all bad. Because they are, the word is parasites. How do you say it in Hindi, parasite? Parjibi. Parjibi. So in this way, there's a danger. So we have to understand what is the symptom of being haunted. What is a symptom that you or I can have some be affected in various ways? Well, Bhagavan has arranged this energy, external energy called Maya, that which is not. And what is Maya? What is the illusory potency? Ahankar. When there is false ego, misidentification, then you become under the influence of Maya. No, not Mahamaya, but you're under the influence of Mahamaya, not Yogamaya. Because we exercise a desire to enjoy separately. Now, Queen Kunti, when Mother Devaki, when Lord Krishna came to the jailhouse of Kamsa, she began to glorify the Lord and say, actually, how these living entities are actually in fear of the snake of time. And then she quotes the verse, Martya Mrityo Vela Vita Pralayam, that actually the living entities are fearful of death, and they're running in fear of death. So a jiva who has no understanding of the Absolute thinks that I am this body. And then everything, aham, belongs to me, I and mine, it's all I have. And the security is just those temporary affairs. Now, we have all, by the mercy of the parampara, have been pulled out of the cesspool of material existence. So we have some scars. I mean, nothing, I can say the same for myself. You look in the mirror, and you can see a material body made up of bile, mucus, and air. You and you and you, I have made a wrong turn somewhere. Of course, devotee, rod in the fire, becomes like the body, like the fire, the body becomes spiritualized. So in this way, we have certain fear. We have a certain fear. We have a certain attachment. Now, it's a nice pastime where Vedavati, the wife of Lord Narayan, Ravan approached her, and oh, what a beautiful woman, mine. And he touched her hair like this. Now, Vedavati, as you know, in her next birth was, of course, Sita. And she cursed Ravan. By the fire of her power, she threw him down. But she did not use her tapasya to kill him. She could have easily killed him. Like, as you know, Sita, when she was in the Ashoka Grove, and Ravana came before her, and she said to him, I could easily burn you to ashes, but Lord Ram has not ordered me to do so. Anyways, Vedavati said, because you have touched me, I'm going to burn my body. In my next birth, then I will destroy you. And that is when she came as Sita, and you know the whole story from there. But Ravana was lamenting after he had offended Vedavati, and she'd burned her body. She goes, oh, he knows Vedic knowledge. Due to some uncontrolled senses, look, my destination, because look at this, Sati, fully chaste. Any Sati woman, her curse will take effect. So he was lamenting, oh, what have I done? But still, this identification with I and mine, he became so covered, he kidnapped the eternal consort, or the Chai Sita, the external Sita, Vedavati, who actually brought destruction upon Ravan, entire dynasty. So much so, not only because of Ravana's influence, his bad mistake, is because those who sided with him were destroyed. This is the power of associating with someone who is ghostly haunted with a hum, who is ghostly haunted with desire to control, a desire to manipulate. So in this way, we can appreciate when Lord Kapila says in the 3rd canto, and this is the 31st chapter, text 29, and he states, Saha dehena manena, the first part of the verse. He describes how Lord Kapila, that when the body grows, Prahlad Maharaj says, Kumara acharat pradya, from the very early age of childhood, or to begin the process. But when words are spoken by a small child, there is such purity. But when the body grows, then there develops a sense of ahankar. Just like all of you, as you had small baby bodies at one time, and when it was cold, your mother would put cloth around you and nourish you, feed you. And in modern materialistic culture, the children grow up, they become students, they become artists, so many external features. And then aham develops truly a sense of false ego, a sense of attachment to I and my, desire to control, to the point they will argue with their parents. They will leave home. In some cases, develop in court cases with their parents. One event in Radhakund is within one of the disciples is in a court case against his guru. So this is the nature. This is the nature of Kali Yuga. But we've all come, from this cesspool of material existence. So we have different samskaras, different habits which are there. So then we, by entering into devotional service, we can bring our bad habits. And in this way, we can develop a sense of, how shall I say, a misunderstanding of how to identify, how to drive this human body. And we become under the influence of the Mahamaya. We leave the hospital approach to Yogamaya, but we become under the influence of Mahamaya. And we undergo God's negative side. Now, Narada Muni, he says in his sutras in text 27, where Naradaji, he makes it very clear that, okay, he makes it very clear. It's funny with this mic, it's like, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, maybe this is haunted mic. I'm joking. So Narada Muni is speaking in his Bhakti Sutra in a text 27. And Narada makes it very clear that the process of Krishna consciousness is a process of understanding the Supreme. So he states, Sarvasya Atmal Devanat Vadarya Pritavakcha, that God, the Supreme, hates those who are proud, but he likes the humble. Now wait a minute, where is pride? Where is dvesh, rag and dvesh, desire and hate? Where is that coming from? That's coming from the Supreme. As they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So in other words, God has wrath. He has hate, as well as complete love. Now we know within this particular material field, we are learning lessons. It's a cesspool. Who wants to stay in a cesspool? Who wants to stay in a dirty place? Who wants to stay in a bad location? So Kali Yuga is there. Even the demigods desire to take birth in the age of Kali because the religious process of the Harinam Sankirtan, Harinama, Harinama, Harinameva, Kevalam, Kalo, Nasteva, 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 Gatir, Nyata. The process is chanting the holy names. But in that light, there are various dangers. And we find that when the baby grows and develops a gross body, we forget the process. We forget that actually we begin to, when Krishna consciousness is very new to us, it's so fresh, but then we become a devotee. So many years. Kokbalu Brahmachari. I've been in ashram so many years. I've distributed many books. I've given many lectures. And we become proudful. We develop some pride. But then, Thakurji is smiling. Thakurji's always smiling. He's smiling at your surrender. He's smiling at your badmaksh quality. Naughty. So in this way, we forget the most important instructions. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a Shikshastakam says everything. He provides the basics of spiritual understanding / postgraduate study. Everything in 8 verses. Everything is there. If you have any difficulty in your spiritual life, study these verses. Learn these verses. And if you can't study those verses, at least study this one verse. Charnarati sunichena turo rivasa hisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind. One should see oneself as lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, and devoid of all sense of false prestige, and chant the names unlimitedly, continually. Now, for example, this one shloka you chant every day. This one shloka, just this one shloka only. You forget everything else, just this one shloka. If you follow that process, you will gain full access to all the facilities going back home, back to Godhead. This one shloka, you'll bring others with you. This one shloka, Trinadapi Sunichena, one shloka. But you know your heart. You know how many of you here were Gaudiya Vaishnavas, that's external. We're servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're followers of Mahaprabhu. Are you really? How many of you are truly following this basic Trinadapi Sunichina? Of course, I must admit, at this temple, anywhere else in the world, I've never seen such a nice, rich Vaishnav culture. The devotees respecting the seniors, and the nice kirtan we just saw, devotees coming together. This is such a wealthy sign of Trinadapi Sunichena. So that goes to the credit to your managers. And it goes to the credit of them engaging you in the topmost distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books. But even though that is true, what I say, what about when the morning program's over? And when you go out in your particular service, some of you may work in the museum, some of you may be distributing books, others are managing, others are making garlands. Are you carrying that philosophy you learn in the morning program throughout your days and activities? Because if you do not follow this, then you're not a follower of Mahaprabhu. Of course, Srila Prabhupada said this: you can't condemn a dirty person in the shower. So it's okay to make mistakes. Individually and collectively, it's okay. To err is human, but not the same mistakes over and over. So we start somewhere. We start. And if you can't follow Trinadapi Sunichena, then pray for the desire. Or pray for the desire for the desire. Pray for the, start somewhere. The process is so powerful that Didami Buddhi Yogam Tam. This entire material world is designed to bring you to the point of surrender. So then again, okay, it's easy to understand those who are attached to material things do not place Bhagavan in the center, and they become ghosts in the next situation due to intense material attachment. There's one story of this one guru who had, he wanted to offer a mango to Bhagavan before he left this world. So he told his disciple, I want to offer this mango to Bhagavan. Now, because this offering was done with a hum, with a desire, I have to give this to Bhagavan. Then I'm clear. He left his body in the process, and according to the Shastra, he became, for 1 year, he became a boot. He was in that mango tree. And until the mango tree developed, I don't know, mangoes takes like seasonal, right? He was 1 year locked in this tree. And the guru said to the disciple, before I go, when the mango falls, then I'll be free. Because he understood. The Lord gave him intelligence that you are going to be locked in for some time. So as soon as this disciple knew that as soon as the mango grows, then once I offer that mango to the Supreme, then the guru was liberated. You see, you may become a guru. You may be a representative of parampara. But if there's a hum, if there's a desire for I and mine, there's a desire for attachment, then what happens is you train your dependence on an incorrect philosophy of I and mine. You focus your dependence in terms of proprietorship. Now, if we look at the example, Durvasa Muni, he is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, performed so much tapasya. And you know the whole story about how he offended Maharaj Ambarish and traveling throughout the planetary systems, chased by Sudarshan Chakra. Vishnu could not help him, Brahma could not help him. So finally the Lord said, you take shelter, Maharaj Ambarish. So then even after that, humility, being humbled,
He was so embarrassed because he was an empowered yogi, an empowered sage, and he was defeated. So he still had a hum. He still had his attachment. So then he performed tapasya again. And the Lord, because his tapasya was so great, the Lord Narayan comes to him. So what do you want now? And his desire was, I want Maharaj Ambarish to take 1,000 births in this world. 1,000. Now, Durvasa is a great devotee of the Lord. Maharaj Ambarish is a greater devotee of the Lord. How is the Lord going to fulfill his vow to his devotee? Then the Lord said, okay, I will incarnate 10 times, and each time will represent 100 births for Maharaj Ambarish. So in this way, Durvasa's vow is fulfilled. That Durvasa's vow was fulfilled. That the Lord, he wanted 1,000 births for Ambarish Maharaj. And the Lord minimized that for his devotee. Oh, well, I will come myself in 10 incarnations. Each incarnation equals 100 births for this, because the Lord will take upon his devotee. He will take on any reaction for his pure devotee. But here's an example. Even someone, an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Of course, these great souls are placed into illusion by the arrangement of the Supreme for our benefit. So we may be a devotee for so many years, distribute so many books, but we neglect the most important principle. We say we're followers of Mahaprabhu, but Trinadapi Sunichena. Are we actually following that? Is our taste for the Nam continual? If we do not experience that, then we have to begin. We have to start from a process. Of course, you're in a very amazing arena here, this temple, because the atmosphere, the sadhana, very powerful, distribution, very powerful. But though this temple is doing wonderful feats of service, unequaled by most temples in the world, it could have much more capacity. Now, Prahlad Maharaj said this. The miracles that saved Prahlad Maharaj from Hiranyakashipu trying to kill his son, the miracles, and you all know the miracles. Prahlad Maharaj states, but it's an open secret. You can become like me. Why? What has made me? What has miracles come in my life? What has protected me? Is that I never found fault with others. He was in a school system with demons. And he simply presented Krishna Katha. He didn't say, you're a demon, you shouldn't do this. But he simply preached Krishna Katha. And this way, mystic miracles will come your way, your way, your way, if you perform devotion without offense. And in this way, we can actually understand we want to become free from what is described as Vaishnav Maya. Vaishnav Maya? Vaishnav means servant of the Lord. Huh? How can that be Maya? How can that be not? But when we're dressed, and Srila Prabhupada himself said, beware of the devotees dressed, those who are dressed like devotees, but within there's something else. So you can each take your temperature. If you want to see the purity of your heart, you want to see the purity of those who are giving you advice, then you take the temperature. How much sense of proprietorship do you have for my possessions, my temple, or it can even be my disciples? Srila Prabhupada, he always would acknowledge that all of you have been sent by my Guru Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada's vision. Now, what happens is, Srila Prabhupada, Shaktavesh Avatar, topmost platform, topmost communicator of Krishna consciousness, he would say heavy things. Dogs, hogs, camels, and asses.
So Prabhupada externally would say some very heavy things. But he can do that. Why? He's free from aham. He has no sense of proprietorship. He is a transparent via media in parampara. We can become like Prabhupada if we follow this process which has been given. But there's a tendency for imitation. There's a tendency to, Prabhupada spoke like that, so let me. You're hog, dog, camel, and ass. There's a tendency to, due to aham, due to attachment, to make offense. Now this Vaishnav Maya which I'm speaking now is another form of ghostliness. This is, the Shastra is describing how one can be delivered from material attachment. But as devotees, we can still maintain this material attachment. Now, what is a symptom? What is a symptom that there's division within the Sampradayas? There's division within the Gaudiya Sampradaya, and there can be even division within ISKCON. Is when there's lack of unity. In other words, you're a devotee of God, I am a devotee of God. It's like the other day I was invited to a Go Raksha conference by there were Saptaha Acharyas in, this is in the Rohini sector, sector 8. And all the Mahants from Vrindavan came. And there was about Go Raksha, to raising funds like this for Cow Hospital, etc. And I was laughing because I give a few handful of classes a year, and I'm on the stage with these Saptahacharyas who are giving, hundreds and hundreds of Saptahas. And I was kind of laughing Prabhupada's sense of humor. So I was the second to the last person to speak, second to the end, which was kind of conclusory. And I was making the point. I said to the point, what is greater than Go Raksha? What is a greater seva? Is unification of the saints behind Go Raksha. Because what did Srila Prabhupada train us in? Unity in diversity. United we stand, divided we fall. India has undergone so much invasion over the years, outside influences, especially lately, in recent times, the British to destroy two features, cow protection and the Gurukul. An introduction of so much educational pursuits, which have nothing to do with cow protection, which have nothing to do with Vedic culture, and which encourage people to material attachment to become ghosts, in one sense. Of course, those who are educated, there's nothing wrong with the education. It's how you use it. So we have so many doctors and lawyers and educated persons here. There's nothing wrong. It's how we use it. But unfortunately, most persons use it in the wrong light. So anyways, on this stage, there was one Buddhist, all Ramdev, all the different acharyas were there. And they were making different, because my Hindi is little, and the devotee who went with me made some translation later. And they were giving different pieces of the puzzle and about Go Raksha. But by the mercy of Prabhupada, he trained us, we have to unite together. India, our Hindu culture, is divided. But even despite the invasions in history, the present invasion of TV, Sanatana Dharma is strong. And we have 10,000 golden years coming before us. That means we have to be united and to honor each other. Now, according to Prabhupada Saraswati, in glorifying, for example, devotees who worship Radharani, he says they don't wear various markings like tilak or external aspects. So the dress is external. But we use the dress like policemen to present Dharma. So it's very important as we, on this process, become free from aham and see everyone in relationship to the Lord, to honor all persons of other paths in a way to share Krishna consciousness.
And in that way, we will not be under the influence of Vaishnava Maya. We'll be under the influence, we'll be empowered instruments to accommodate. Srila Prabhupada was the expert accommodator. You know the word accommodation. And it all begins back to this Trinadapi Sunichina. So please, take shelter of this formula. Don't become a ghost. Don't become an influence of Vaishnava Maya. But you start this process and you see every single person in relationship to the Supreme. And according to Krishna's vision, Bhakta is greater than God. This is Krishna's perspective. We are part and parcel, but according to Bhagavan's vision, why does he leave Dwarka? Why does he leave a place of Ashvarya and come to Braj, to be insulted in so many ways? Dance if you want. Give some chach. Dance. Because he becomes controlled by his devotee. And anyone who performs devotional service in this light, the Supreme Lord will follow you. And if you become free from a hum, all traces of sense proprietorship, that same Supreme will surrender unto you. And this is what Sri Krishna did with Srila Prabhupada. Because the Lord glorified Prabhupada. When I say surrender, the Lord will glorify his devotee. And the devotee will glorify the Lord. So in that way, let us try and follow that wonderful opportunity in relation with the Lord. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Time, okay. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Yadgauda Premanandi. Sorry.
Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj ki jai.